Call the meeting to order. Ask for roll call, please.
Here.
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 Here. Rita Mason. Asa Panzer.
Here.
Jack Reed.
Here.
Heather Schultz.
Here.
Joy Majeski.
Here.
All right. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we have minutes from our regular meeting, September 15.
I move for approval of the minutes from September 15th as written.
Second.
All right, motion and a second then for the approval of the minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those not, same sign. All right. Well, welcome all that are in attendance here, or all that are listening or watching at home. Appreciate you all being with us this evening. We do not have anybody signed up for public comment, so we will go right on down to motion for adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
All right, motion and a second then to adopt the agenda for this evening. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those not, same sign. All right, moving right along. 8.1, School of the Month presentation, Beaver Dam Middle School. Welcome.
Good evening. All right, well, it's great to see you all tonight. I just want to start with our reminder of our mission and vision. This is something that we review with staff before every staff meeting and every in-service. It's just something to reground us. So I wanted to share those with you tonight. Our mission, building the foundation for academic excellence and strong citizens one stick at a time. Building that dam over at Beaver Dam Middle School. Our vision there is that we envision a school in which staff uphold a positive culture of learning with a focus on high leverage curriculum, guaranteed access and inclusivity, collaboration, and sustained partnerships with the adults in our students' lives and the community. One thing we also share with staff, and we review at every staff meeting too, is our collective commitments, which I didn't include on here today, but those are just the behaviors that we've committed to as a building to ensure we realize and live out our mission and vision every day. So again, this is something we anchor back to every time we're together as a staff, just to remind us what our purpose is. Just want to start by reminding you, I know we went over this at the board workshop, but just reminding you of a couple of our school success plan goals. So for ELA, our goal is to increase to 48% of our students scoring at or above grade level on iReady spring reading diagnostic. Again, that's an increase of 12% from spring last year. And our subgroup is at 50% of our students in grade 7 with disabilities, and 42% of our students in grade 8 with disabilities will meet their stretch growth goal. And again, that stretch growth goal is determined by iReady based on how they did on the fall assessment and kind of demographics of students who are similar, who took the test at around the same time in the same grade. It kind of calculates a specific stretch growth, which essentially is more than 1 year's worth of growth for the school year. So every student gets a typical growth goal, which is essentially like this is what a student should typically grow who got this score around this same time, but the stretch kind of increases that. It's about a year and a half. And the intent of meeting the stretch growth goal is that, you know, those are our students that we want to close the gap. So by increasing more than 1 school years, we're closing that gap. For math, increasing from 48% to 60% for at or above grade level on the iReady spring math. Again, we're comparing spring to spring, so that 48% is last year's spring. And we are going to have at least 34% of 7th grade students with disabilities and 51% of 8th grade students with disabilities meet their stretch growth goal. And again, going back to the ELA goal as well, and this goal here, the increase is aggressive. The 12%, especially on the overall goal, is pretty aggressive to jump in 1 year. But you know, we know that we can do it. And we know we've got a lot of hard work ahead of us, but we wanted to set a realistic but aggressive goal so that we can continue to close that gap. So a couple of key action steps that we've completed and celebrated with staff. Over the summer, we created an ideal lesson, and we reviewed that with staff. So our guiding coalition came together in August and had a long discussion about what an ideal lesson looks like at the middle school, what are the components that need to be included in an ideal lesson, and I'll share that with you in a minute. And so then when myself and Abby are in observing or we're providing feedback for teachers, that's anchoring back to some of our feedback in addition to some of the other components that we're looking for as far as our goals are concerned. Block protocol. So that's something that was developed last year for our large blocks, especially our ELA and math. So what those 83-minute periods look like, because students are in there essentially for 2 periods instead of 1. So what does that time look like as far as some kind of like warm-up time, some small group instruction time, and then whole group instruction time. And then we did a pretty good data dive both in August and last month, just in our iReady and Forward, not only looking at overall scores, but looking at students that are below grade level. Teachers got the student names in August of kids that they were going to have in on their roster. That these are the students that need additional support, so that we're not waiting until the iReady. We know who those kids are day one. So we did that, and again, we did a little bit more of a deep dive in Forward. Those things are going to continue to happen as we continue to get that data, but those are some of the successes that we had for our first term of the year, for the first quarter, and we did celebrate with sheet cake. I bought him a sheet cake, so we had a cake, and people got to eat cake. It was a really big cake. Like, it was huge. We had like half of it left. I should have invited you over, but staff liked the cake. So this is our ideal lesson. This is what I mentioned. Our guiding coalition spent some time kind of reviewing what are some things that we felt were important to be in a lesson. And the team felt that every lesson should have some kind of an opener or a warm-up to kind of activate that prior knowledge, to get students hooked, to get them interested in what the lesson was going to be for the day. Student skill success criteria, essentially that's, it's not just a learning target, but it's students will be able to do this, and how will we know that they've done that? So it's not just the learning target, but what are they going to do to demonstrate their mastery? Wanted to also make sure that our lessons are related and relevant so that students can see the importance of those lessons, why they're important. It's not just I have to do this math concept because my 8th grade teacher is telling me I have to know about transformations, but why is that important? Gradual release of responsibility, so that's the I do, we do, you do. So the teacher kind of providing some of that direct instruction and then working with the students in some guided practice, and then students demonstrating their understanding on their own. Differentiation, and then finally a check for learning. So that check for learning could be formative, it could be summative, but every lesson should have a way for us to determine, did students understand what we taught them today? Did they learn what we taught them? Because it's not just about did we teach it, but it's about if they learned it, and this is our way of doing it. So that could be an exit ticket, it could be it could be a quiz, it could be a summative assessment that kind of looks at the whole unit, but every lesson should have some kind of check for understanding. This is that block protocol I mentioned to you. So on the top left here, can't see it as I point to it, but that's the math. So you can see there's some time at the beginning of each lesson for an opening, class opening. That might be some warm-up problems to get students' brains ready for the day. And then we have some small group instruction time, and then some core time, and then we have a lesson closure at the end. And then you can see on the bottom right there is our ELA. Some similar things, class opening. That might be, in an ELA class, it might be some grammar practice, it might be some vocab practice, it might be some synonym, antonym practice. Small group instruction, then you'll see that as well, and then you'll see just a slight difference. We have some time for core instruction, but a couple days a week we're working on some of the writing conventions as well. And then of course we end with a lesson closure. Yeah?
I just have a quick question. When you have the small group sessions, does the teacher have someone, another adult who's helping in there if there's any issues going?
It would depend on the class. Some of our classes in ELA and math are co-taught, so we have a special education teacher in with the core teacher during that small group instruction time, at least to start the lesson. So they might be pulling, some of the students that they support in small groups. They might also be supporting in the classroom as well. Sometimes there are aides in there that are supporting some of our students who need additional support as well. Sometimes there aren't. So it just depends on the class and the makeup. But most of our, at every grade level for ELA and math, we have at least one co-taught class. So there's a special education teacher in with the classroom teacher. I'm going to turn it over to Abby. She'll talk to you about our third goal.
All right, hi. So going over our safe and healthy schools, by June, we want to reduce the number of major behavior incident referrals by 25% and out-of-school suspensions by 30%, comparing to last school year. So as of right now, the way we stand, we're already in as a reduction of 79% in comparison to where we were last year. So we have made progress, and I'll talk about some of the key actions that we've put in place. And here we go. So the thing that we started off, the first month, we really focused on regrounding behavior expectations with all of our students and staff. We made sure that they knew what to expect. It was a lot of reteaching. If students were making mistakes, they were learning from them, right? It's reteach, 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 because we can't expect everyone to know what our expectations are until they're taught. We also came up with, like we do for the ideal lesson plan, we came up with the ideal school environment, so what the classroom should look like, what it feels like, and we'll get to an example of that as well. We also reviewed the student family handbook with the staff and the students. We have a lot of updates from last year, so we made sure that we highlighted those so teachers were aware of any changes that might have happened. But then we also took advisory lessons to teach specific parts of the handbook to students. And then at the end of advisory, when we got through the entire handbook, we had students sign off saying that they participated in their advisory and they understood that these different expectations were taught to them as well. And we also have a lot of positive celebrations going on. Every faculty meeting, we have postcards that we send home. Teachers choose like 1 to 2 students from any grade level, and they send a note home. So then we make sure that we're getting through all of the students that are in our building. So by the end of the year, ideally, all of our students have had at least 1 positive postcard home. We also have phone calls that the administration has been working on with Beaver Bravos. We expect all teachers to give us 1 to 2 names, and then we personally call, and if we don't get a hold of them, we usually follow up with an email, just sharing what the teachers shared. Teachers are always also expected to make calls home too, and they keep a phone log of that. We have house competitions. The first month was students that are following the expectations of the building. So if they would get a log. They were building a dam there as well. So the house at the end with the most logs were celebrated at our assembly that we have. This month, October, is kindness, so we will be having a celebration on the 30th. So anyone that wants to, come on into the building. We'll have an assembly. We'll recognize students of the month as well as the winners of the house competition. We also had the house that won for each grade level got a pizza party. So at lunch one day this month, they all got pizza from Pizza Ranch. Was nice enough to help work with us on that. And then obviously student of the month, we have each grade level, each department is choosing 1 student to be recognized. We invite parents into these assemblies as well so they can hear their children's names get recognized by the teachers in front of the entire school. So it was really cool. It was a lot of students in one space, but there was a lot of excitement in there. So we're working on fine-tuning that a little bit. Where am I? There we go. This is the Golden Way Pledge that we announce every morning. There's morning announcement that Mr. Kraus will do, and every day this is stated, and the students in the classrooms are following along and repeating as well. So right after we're done with announcements, we ask everyone to repeat the Golden Way Pledge, and then after that we run into joining for the pledge. So this is just part of our daily announcements that we have visual for students to see as well as they can hear it too. And then here with our guiding coalition, we did the ideal lesson plan. This is what the environment will look like. So growth mindset, making sure that failure is going to happen, but we have to learn from it. So it's not focusing on the negative, it's focusing on the positive and what can change. Expectations, routines, procedures, if you have those in place, it makes the day run a lot more smoothly. Students know what to expect, staff knows what to expect, and parents know what to expect. Connections, this is what we've really been focusing on we do circles that also build community, which is our next one. We do circles within advisory to really build the community and connections between each other, but it also is connections with the families as well, because we feel like we need to find that connection a little bit more between school and home, because in order to be strong and to run smoothly, we need everyone part of the team. Professionalism, that's part of our standards that we focus on when we hire people into our district, so we want to make sure that we are showing it every day within our building. And then elements of active engagement, just meaning we're not, when we're in hallway supervision, we're out there, right? We're looking for what to expect, we're addressing things if we don't see what we like, and we're also addressing it if we do like it. We're making sure that we have the positive feedback to students as well. And here are a few pictures of things that we've accomplished in the first term. So the top left, you can see the students that were recognized for Student of the Month. So quite a few, a little over 20, I believe. And then you can see down below, staff was participating in, student council helps us come up with activities for the assembly to do. So staff are participating. Bottom right, you can see some of the students. Top right, you can see that's all the students we had in the bleachers, which was nice to get them all in one space. And then right in the middle is an example of building the dam, just some logs that were accumulated over a short period of time. All right, and now it's back to Brandon.
So we mentioned some things that we do in advisory. So we set up our advisory. So students have advisory for 23 minutes every day of the week. And we structure it in a way that supports both our academic goals, but also our safe and healthy schools goals. So you can see there on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we provide time during that advisory for tier 2 interventions. So that it's either going to be in, typically those times are in math or ELA, and we rotate like nine sessions on each. So right now, today we just started the math, or maybe it was the other day we started the math. So we'll do 9 sessions of math during those times, and then we'll go to 9 sessions of ELA, 9 sessions of math. And so what we do on those days, so our core ELA and math teachers have an elective teacher that is their advisory co-advisor. So on those 3 days, the co-advisor essentially leads the advisory while the teachers are pulling students in small groups for reading or math intervention. And that's based on, how are they doing in class, students that need additional support. So we're able to pull those students and have our core teachers provide those interventions while also still providing some advisory time for our students who don't need those interventions, and that's led by a co-advisor. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have SEL, like social emotional learning, character, behavior lessons. So that's where we're addressing some of the things that we're seeing related to our safe and healthy school success plan goal with major referrals and suspensions. Some professional learning we're doing this year. So we're continuing some work on brain-based PD. So the image you see on the right, it's kind of hard to see, but last year the middle school staff did a book study on Learning That Sticks, which is the book kind of on the right. That really focuses on the phases of learning. It's all brain-based. What are the different phases of learning? This year, the companion to that is called the New Classroom Instruction That Works. That focuses all on brain-based and highly effective instructional strategies that teachers can do aligned to the different phases of learning. So we're engaging in that book study. We just, last week at our in-service, did our first chapter, which was all about that first thing on our ideal lesson, which was like getting students hooked. How do we pique their interest, and how do we make sure they know and they're interested and activate their background knowledge so that they can access the content and not just feel like it's another hoop that they have to jump through. We're doing some PD on formative assessment that Melissa Hemling is helping facilitate for us. So we had our first session back in September, and it was highly rated by staff. So when we have in-service next Monday, we're going to continue some of that work as well. Classroom circles, like Abby mentioned, so that's part of the community building in the advisories that teachers are doing with their students to build classroom community. And then last week during in-service, we also had a representative from CISA 5 come and do some time with us on artificial intelligence and AI and how we can use those tools. So again, all of these things kind of anchor back to our school success plan goals. How are we going to use them to be successful? And our staff have been highly complimentary of the PD we've done so far. We do a plus delta at the end of each of those just to get feedback from staff as far as what did they like, what are some changes they'd like to see, and what are some wonderings they have. So we're taking that feedback. A big one from the 1st September was coffee and donuts. So we brought coffee and donuts last week. Got some good feedback from last week that we're going to incorporate for our next in-service next week. Student involvement, so this is a list of most of the ways our students are involved. So you can see a variety of ways our students are able to be involved in school. On the left-hand side is mostly our activities. On the right-hand side, you can see our after-school academic support, and then our sports that we've done so far this year. Football, cross country wrapped up, and volleyball wrapped up a few weeks ago. Basketball and wrestling started last week. After school academic support, that's another piece that is voluntary for students, but 2 days a week, Mondays and Thursdays after school from 3 to 4 in the library at school. We have anywhere from 2 to 3 or 4 certified staff that staff the library, and our students can come if they have missing work, if they need extra help, they need help with homework. Again, it's voluntary, but in the first week we had 2 kids. I think last week or 2 weeks ago we had 9 to 10 kids. So they have to be there for the full hour, and they have to have work to do. Usually that hour goes by really quick and they have plenty of work to do. But it's nice that there's some extra time for students to get some extra support, and we have teachers in there that can help answer questions, navigate Canvas, help them look in the grade book to see what they're missing, what grades they have. So it's a nice opportunity for our kids to get some extra help. Family engagement. So we had our first set of parent-teacher conferences a few weeks ago. That was advisory-led. We had over 200 families signed up for conferences, and we had several just drop in. This is a slight change from what we've done previously. In the past, it was, you'd sign up for whatever teacher you wanted to go see, and you'd have 10 minutes to go talk to that teacher. This was more advisory-led, so our advisory teachers had conferences just with the students in their advisory, and they were tasked to get information from the child's additional teachers to share with parents, plus they have the access to the grade book and attendance and things like that. So we're planning on doing that for 2 of our conferences this year. The other 2 conferences, we're going to go back to what we did last year, where parents can sign up. If I just want to talk to my child's ELA teacher, I can just talk to my child's ELA teacher. One thing that that wasn't the driving factor, but a teacher, a content teacher, might have anywhere from 60 to 80 kids, and on a night where we have 10-minute slots, you can fit about 21. So allowing us to do the advisory allowed us to have more opportunity to touch more parents. I would say our 6th grade, as is usual, was the most heavily attended. 7th grade, middle, 8th grade, not as heavily attended from the parent perspective, but again, we're going to provide a different structure to that the next time, so we'll see how that works. We also give out a monthly family newsletter, send that to families. Again, we have daily announcements like Abby had mentioned, so I do those every morning, and then those are posted on the school website so parents can access those. One piece of feedback we got this year is in the past those were emailed out every day. So every day the parents got an email of the announcements. We made the decision to not do that so as to not dilute the skyward emails. So because what was happening is parents would see those emails, oh, that's the announcement, I'm just going to delete it, and then sometimes they would delete an email that we didn't want them to delete. So this way parents are aware that the announcements are available to be seen on our website, but we don't want them to be ignoring skyward emails from school. So this was a way for us to continue to keep them engaged while also not overdoing it with the emails. And then we have our PTO parent advisory that meets monthly. We've met 3 times, August, September, and October, and I would say our participation has been really good. We've had anywhere from 5 to 8 parents that have regularly attended those meetings. They have been held 4:30 after school. We're switching that a little bit later for next month based on some feedback, just so that we can see if we can get some more parents if it's a little bit after that 5 o'clock time. We're going to see how it works. The challenge is, the later those go, the less likely the teachers are to stay. So that's why we originally landed on 4:30 because that was kind of a good medium. But we're going to try 5:30 next month and see if we can get some more engagement from families. One of the things we spent a lot of time talking about last month was fundraising. So what are some ways that we can raise funds for the school? And then what are some ways that the PTO or the parent advisory can support our school efforts? And one of the big things they want to continue to support is our student council. and just, what the big question is, what does student council need from us? So really engaging in those with our the teachers that oversee those, but also just talking about some of the events that they're planning. That's all we got. Any questions?
I have a question, kind of going back to the ideal lesson.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about like the check for understanding at the end. What's the plan like when they, I assume it's every student has a check to
Mhm.
make sure that they do. What's the process then if they don't really understand?
So that's where that small group instruction time and that block protocol would come into play. So teachers will pull students who need extra help. Sometimes those are quick. Sometimes it's a quick, they look at the assessments and they identify these students just made a silly error. So it's pulling those students over, pointing out the error, and the kids are like, oh yeah, I got it, right? For some of those students, they didn't understand the process at all. So it's reteaching that process. Sometimes it's in a different, slightly different way because we know the first way they didn't learn it. So we have to change how we do things. But that's with that small group instruction. In addition to that tier 2 intervention time during advisory time as well, that's where, again, our teachers, there's a document that our teachers fill out to say, here are the kids that are going to go to the intervention during advisory and who they're going to go see.
In regards to the after-school academic support, is that something that we are reaching out to the parents and encouraging, like, say, hey, we'd like your child to attend this, or are we leaving that up to the child to show up there, or the teacher? I mean, how are we?
It's both.
A little bit.
Depends.
Both.
I had a parent in my office today who, their child has like 17 missing assignments, and we talked about like, oh, I didn't know that was a possibility. So, now the parent's like, I want you to tell me when she's not there, because she needs to be there every day. And sometimes it is students that just need that extra time that they know to go. But it's both. It depends on the kid. We also use it, especially during our athletic time too, because our student athletes are held responsible for their participation and their work completion. And if they don't complete their work, that might impact their eligibility to play or practice. And so we make sure that, if a student has too many missing assignments to not be able to maybe play in the next game, the coaches are telling them, instead of practice today, you're going to as after school so you can get that work made up.
Gotcha.
When we toured the middle school, there were a couple opportunities to go into classrooms, and I was really impressed with two really different, well, there were three. There was I believe it was a German class we attended, and the immediate feedback she was getting from kids and how quick that went, where they were like teaching and at the same time asking, do you get this? Yes, no. There was a math class also that did that. And then another room where they were really working independently, but constantly checking in with the teacher and showing their work and getting help, and just the different strategies they're using and how that must just break up their day, but how quick they were moving and asking, do you understand this right away?
Yeah.
And that was something that I haven't always seen before, but it was outstanding.
And it has to be quick for some of those classes that are 40 minutes, like German, because they only have them for 40 minutes. So getting that feedback to them and responding to their questions has to be, immediate. So the block classes too, there is a little bit more built-in time for that, but yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll just say too, our visit there, I was really impressed with you and your staff. The classrooms we went into, a lot of active and engaged students. They're and also I think a lot of that had to do with some of the lessons that were being taught. Like they were just involved with it. We had the how many licks to get to the center of the lollipop. I mean, I think that went over well with the kids. The VR, is always, that active and engaged learning. And like Joanne said, that German class with Mrs. Tietz, that was pretty powerful.
I was
Going
tired
there
when she was done.
Yeah,
She was working hard.
That was really, really active and
She's
engaged.
been doing it
learning.
for a few years.
Yeah, yeah. But just love to hear all the positive reinforcement that you guys are implementing over there. I think that goes a long, long way. So keep up the good work, and thank you.
Significant improvement in behavior. Your data is showing that, and I know, Abby talked about, the things that you've implemented and are continuing to work on, but if you could put your finger on like one thing that you think is the most important, what would that be as far as the behavior improvements you've seen?
So the first month, we really prioritized teaching and reteaching the expectations. So we weren't focused heavily on writing kids up. Now, did we do that? Yes. But we really were intentional with, the consequence isn't the write-up. It's the conversation we're having, the reteaching that we're having. So I think that played a big part in it. I think right now, if you look at our data, the biggest area that we continue to see struggles with is tardies. That's what our students are getting written up for the most is tardies. That's being late for class, a couple minutes. So that's something we still have to continue to work on, and that we weren't necessarily documenting that to start the year because kids were still getting used to where their classes were and moving, even our 8th graders, right, like moving between floors, and but now we're doing that more, so we're seeing that uptick a little bit. But I would say having some flexibility and grace in those first couple weeks, but also like not letting things go either, right? Just because we see the behavior and we're not going to document doesn't mean we don't address it, right? And so that's where the importance is how are we addressing it, not just how are we documenting it.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate the continuous support of expectations, and then obviously just the supporting discussion that happens and not just the disciplinary action that comes with it. So thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments from the board?
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to 8.2, college course requests. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm here for Beaver Dam High School's time to request, Start College Now request for next semester, 2026, and also the early college credit request as well. You should have a document that shows you the number of students and the classes that they are requesting at this point in time for Start College Now as well as early college credit requests. Pretty typical procedure that we look at getting approval now for the spring semester. We have about 33 students requesting Start College Now and another 6 students requesting early college credit as well.
And John, as typical, they put down a list of classes, some of which they may not get into, but
Correct.
attempting to get into some.
Correct. Yeah, there's some that have a number of courses selected and they may not always be approved or available through that particular college, yes.
Okay.
And these are very similar numbers that we've had in the past in terms of number of applications and student interest in that. So a great opportunity for our students to earn some college credit while they're in high school and save a little bit of money on top of it, so.
Any questions?
Just what is the procedure when a student wants to take a college class? Do they have to get approval from you, from their teacher, or how does?
Correct. So they start with their counselor. There's an application process for that. They fill that out. It's reviewed by us, meaning administration, to see if they qualify, if we have a similar course offering to that or a same course offering. So it is reviewed, and then we may make some adjustments to that. We may say there's some alternative ones here, or there's a priority one of a class if they have multiple requests. That's kind of the process at that point in time, and then then the college has final say at that point in time later, so.
Can you remind me how the course gets paid?
We pay for these,
That-
yeah.
okay.
And this isn't just a local policy, right? This is a,
No, I mean, there's a reimbursement process associated with this. And
Correct.
again, this is something that's available to all students throughout the state, regardless. And this is making sure that the board has the opportunity to see it as a point of context. Technically, based on statute or otherwise, there wouldn't really be any reason why a board would not approve these, because it is a mandated statutory requirement that these opportunities are offered. And we're fortunate, and again, these aren't unusual numbers either, but we're fortunate that there is I think quality awareness, and that we have counselors that help support students in planning, and as you can see from the list, and of course we won't talk about the names of the students or what courses, but we have some really, really, really talented, aggressive students that are looking to continue, to, try to get as many wonderful opportunities as possible while they're in high school.
Right, and they can earn up to 18 credits maximum, so.
I make a motion, we approve the college course requests as presented.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the college course request as presented. Roll call vote, please.
Yes.
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 Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
All right,
Okay, thank you.
thank you. All right, donation acceptance.
All right, so tonight we're fortunate to have 3 donations to propose to the board. The first donation is from Mr. David Hoying of Beaver Dam in the amount of $1,000, and that's to be gifted to the Beaver Dam High School cross-country program. This donation will be utilized by the cross-country program at their discretion. The second donation comes from Kenneth Mensa of Beaver Dam. Ken is donating a 2015 Chrysler 200 to be used for educational purposes in the auto class. And the value of this vehicle is $6,800. The donation from Ken will be used by the high school auto class for students to practice working on cars. Currently, the program has 2 older vehicles that are in need of being replaced, and this would replace one of those vehicles. It's also going to be an update in technology from the current vehicles that they're using. And the third and final donation comes from the class of 1985 in the amount of $2,000. And this donation is to be used for improvements at the new middle school campus. So the class of 1985's donation will be used to supplement costs for community areas at the new middle school campus. This could include trail improvements, benches, signage, and the donation is going to be recognized at this location, likely in the form of some type of wayfinding sign. So all 3 groups are making generous donations that exceed the amount of $1,000. In accordance with Board Policy 7230, they must receive board approval. So I'm requesting that you approve the receipt of these donations, and in doing so, authorize the administration to allocate this money and resources as designated.
I move that we approve the receipt of these donations, and in so doing, authorize the administration to allocate the money as designated.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second then for the acceptance of the donations. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those not, same sign. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that moves us on to reports presented by the Board of Education. And our first matter, you can see here that says Board of Education Student Representatives Report. So I know I took some English classes, that means there's more than one. So we did have multiple people put their name in for sitting with us and representing the student body. And through conversation, we agreed that it would be better to have both of the students sit with us and share their experiences and be part of the board as a representative. So that's why you see these 2 students here, Dayanara Connell and Carter Kinsey. And I will turn it over to them now to introduce themselves and share a little bit.
All right, thank you, everyone. I'm Carter Kinsey. I'm a senior here at BDHS. I've been in the school district since 4K. Started off at Prairie View, was there for my whole time in elementary school, then the middle school, and now high school. Crazy, it's the last year now. At the high school, I'm involved in a few different things. Key Club is probably my main club that I'm active in. I serve as our district governor, which is a fancy position, but I oversee Wisconsin and then Michigan's Upper Peninsula and all the key clubs within that kind of boundaries. And then I also am the chairman of our board of student trustees, so we kind of operate all the key clubs within Wisconsin, which is a pretty cool opportunity I have. I'm also our student council vice president, a member of National Honor Society, Link Crew, DECA, and the golf team. And then I also help out with Prayview. They have their K-Kids or Kiwanis Kids, which is another branch of Key Club. I help out there and I attend their meetings, and me and 2 other students, we like to go to those to help out and meet with the students directly. In school, I'm currently involved. I got 3 classes at the high school. I got a pretty sweet schedule this year. I take AP Literature, AP Psychology, and then AP Economics. Then I also take a finance class online. And my favorite class I've ever taken is AP Government and Politics, which will make sense when I talk about my future here. Waiting for college results. I just submitted my applications to UW-Madison and University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. I'm also submitting one for Washington University in St. Louis, which I've been procrastinating on for a while, and I'm hoping to major in finance. And then following that, I want to go to law school and become a business attorney, but we got some time until that happens. I'll pass it over to Dayanara.
Hi, my name is Dayanara, and I was born here in Beaver Dam, but I did my kindergarten through 2nd grade in Dallas, Texas. When we moved back, I went to Prayview, and I've been at the district since. In the community, I'm involved in projects like an annual food drive and a Christmas gift giving. And at school, I'm the student council president. I am in NHS, Link Crew, soccer, LHC, which is our Latino Hispanic club. And I'm also part of what I like to call the BDHS Bilingual Buddy. It's basically where my counselor reaches out to me anytime we have new international students that struggle speaking English. So they basically shadow me for a day, and I show them my classes. I try to be the first friendly face they see at our school, which I love doing. It's only been a couple of times I've done that, but I really like doing it. I'm also only in 3 classes at school. Spend a lot of my day with Carter. I'm in AP Lit, College Math, and AP Econ, and I'm taking some paralegal classes through Marine Park. I also do school service at Prayview throughout my day, and it's my favorite part of the day. I help students in 4th grade learn English because they're Spanish speakers originally. For my future, I have been accepted into the direct admit program, and I followed up to Oshkosh, Milwaukee, Whitewater, and Green Bay. Currently, I'm applying to UW-Madison for political science and international studies on a pre-law track to hopefully one day become an immigration or criminal defense lawyer.
All right.
You guys.
Yeah, very nice.
Thank you.
So this, for our high school and kind of report right now, in the future, we hope to kind of reach out to all of our club and sport leaders, either students or coaches or advisors. So this is kind of based on the information we gathered from some students, but we didn't have a ton of time, so hopefully we'll be a little more in-depth in our next one. But I'm going to begin with our FFA. Our chapter is going to be traveling to the National FFA Convention in Indianapolis, Indiana. This convention brings together students from the entire country who are passionate about leadership, service, and agricultural education. We are especially proud of Owen Hemling. He's qualified again for the 2nd year for the National Agri-Science Fair. He placed 3rd last year and hopefully going for 1st this year. His dedication and continued success is a wonderful example to the rest of our students and members of FFA.
Next is our student council, who coordinated a very successful homecoming week earlier this month. This year, student participation was really, truly outstanding. More students than ever took part in hallway decorations, the dress-up days, and bleacher creature class competitions. We celebrated the homecoming dance with 509 students in attendance, which is an increase of 19 students from last year, and it shows the positive and welcoming school spirits that we are building at the high school. During our homecoming festivities, we also had the privilege of honoring the newest inductees to the Athletic Hall of Fame members, as well as recognizing our 2025 homecoming court. Student council put in a lot of hours for planning, and we want to thank them for helping bring our school community together.
All right, then moving on to athletics. We've seen a lot of dedication, growth, and strong representation from our student athletes across many of our fall sports. In girls golf, McKenna Nelson qualified for the state tournament and finished 3rd place overall in the state, which is obviously pretty cool to have a state qualifier at the school. In girls tennis, Maya Conity and Audrey Lunt advanced to the sectional tournament, and they performed very well there. Football, our team qualified to compete in the WIAA Division II state tournament. Obviously on Friday wasn't the outcome we were hoping for, but they gave a really strong performance in the first half. Thought we had it for a little bit there. And then finally, boys soccer concluded their season earlier in October, and they demonstrated grit, improvement, and strong teamwork throughout this year. We're grateful for the dedication of all of our athletes and coaches who continue to push forward and represent our school in a positive light.
And turning over to academics, we have several updates. Students who registered for the fall ACT completed their exam on Monday, October 20th. Results will be returned, I think, next week, and we want to condemn those students for taking this important academic step. I know I hated taking mine. The ASVAB test, which provides insight into career pathways and opportunities within the armed services, will be offered at school on November 7th. The school is encouraging students considering military careers or those simply interested in learning more about their strengths to participate in this test. And additionally, students pursuing the Seal of Biliteracy completed testing this past Tuesday and Wednesday. We were thrilled to see a large number of students demonstrating interest in advanced language proficiency. Does anyone have any questions?
Any questions for our student reps?
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think I appreciate the fact that you kind of probably preloaded your high school schedule to allow yourself some flexibility. But the nice thing about doing that, though, is it gives you a ton of opportunity to be involved with other things in your senior year. And so I appreciate you doing that and appreciate you being part of your volunteerism for other students as well.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. All right, let's move on to Operations Committee.
Well, that's a tough act to follow, but the Operations Committee actually had 2 committee meetings prior to this board meeting. So on September 22nd, we met. All of our board members were present. Mr. Cashman, who's here, and Mr. Marshall had talked about facilities and the projects going on there, including HVAC work at Prairie View, Wilson air conditioning work, roof work at the high school, and exterior work on the district maintenance garage. Referendum projects included office space update and pedestrian pathways and new playground at Jefferson Elementary, new improvements at the high school, parking lot work and flooring at the ESC, and district-wide safety upgrades. And they also reviewed the project financial and 5-year facility plan. And Mr. Cashman and Mr. Marshall also shared the referendum project's monthly update, which people are able to see online. The middle school groundbreaking was set for October 15th. The update is shared publicly and posted on the district website. And Dr. DeStefano, our superintendent, shared information regarding parent, community, and staff engagement sessions to obtain feedback on the district's key performance indicators, to inform us of strategy, planning, and resource alignment. And there will be multiple sessions for October through February for this. Then we had a meeting on October 20th, and 3 of the board members were present. John Kraus was busy out in the fields. And again, Mr. Cashman provided an update on the budget, which we talked about earlier today. And he reviewed the budget calendar along with a recap of budgets from the past 2 years and the history of mill rates for the past 5. And he reported on the enrollment decrease from last year, but summer school enrollment increased, and noted that the revenue limit is based on a 3-year average. He explained that equalized property value has increased and how it impacts the levy. Equalization aid is expected to decrease and the tax levy is projected to increase. He provided an overview of the other factors on property tax, school levy, tax credits, other changes, and the impact of the referendum. The mill rate is projected to increase from 6.88 to 6.91. The annual budget hearing was scheduled for today, which was just before our regular board meeting, and the budget was presented for adoption at the regular board meeting, which it was earlier today. Mr. Cashman and Mr. Marshall also shared the referendum project's monthly update for October. Groundbreaking for middle school was on the 15th, and that update is shared publicly and posted to the district website. And our next committee meeting is scheduled for January 26th. I don't know if Ryan or excuse me, if you want to say anything about the monthly update on the projects or anything like that, or is it pretty much up to date? Excuse me, Mr. Cashman and Mr. Marshall.
Yeah, I would just add for the middle school site, the earthwork site utility and concrete foundation contractors have all been brought on board, and we're currently working with the city, the DNR, and the county for mass excavation, which we're anticipating to take place at either the end of October, late October, or early November. And we are currently bidding out our builder's risk insurance for the project. At Washington, all basic landscaping has been completed. Asphalt paving is or will take, I believe it took place late last week. I did not get over there today. And painting at the new commons is also completed. So Washington's in really good shape, wrapping up that project, and the plan is for the kitchen staff to move into that over Christmas break, and have the students start utilizing that new space in January. As far as district projects, the camera enhancements have been completed as of October 24th. So Prairie View, Jefferson, the high school, and the middle school all received new additional cameras in spaces that it did not used to have them. The middle school camera additions can be moved and replaced in other locations when the middle school, when we move into the new middle school in 2027. The concrete ADA pathways around the athletic complex at the high school continue to be poured. The major pour happened today, and so that will wrap up here shortly as well.
Okay, thank you, Ryan. And the next Operations Committee meeting is scheduled for January 26, 2026.
Any questions for Marge? All right, move on to teaching and learning.
Teaching and learning also met on 2 separate occasions since our last board meeting. The first time was on September 22nd, and all of our board committee members were present. Ms. Jansma, the elementary teaching and learning coordinator, provided an update on the implementation of Act 20, which focuses on the increased literacy achievement. This is the second year of implementation, and she reviewed the updates for this school year. She explained that students are screened in the spring and fall and shared some data along with information on personal reading plans. Training continues on both the updates and new staff members. Dr. DeStefano, our superintendent, shared information regarding the parent, community, and staff engagement sessions to obtain feedback on the district's key performance indicators for strategy planning and resource alignment. There will be multiple sessions from October through February. And then we do have one item for action today as well that came out of this committee. So Ms. Hemling, our secondary teaching and learning coordinator, reported on secondary ELA course novel updates. She explained that as part of the ongoing curriculum alignment and instructional resource updates, the high school English Language Arts Department has reviewed novel selections for English 11 and American Literature. American Literature will update its whole class and book club texts by rotating in titles that have already been board approved. Novels previously read in American Literature will be assigned to AP Lang and Composition. She shared recommendations to be presented at this board meeting to rotate previously board-approved novels between American Literature and AP Lang and Comp, and replace Into the Wild with Frankenstein in English 11. And as such, I would like to move that the board approve a change to instructional resources as follows. To rotate previously board-approved novels between American Literature and AP Lang and Composition, and to replace the novel Into the Wild with Frankenstein in English 11.
Second.
All right, motion and a second then for the ELA resource changes. All in favor, say aye.
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 All those not, same sign. Okay.
And the Teaching and Learning Committee also met on October 20th. All of our committee members were present. Ms. Jansma, the Elementary Teaching and Learning Coordinator, provided the Achievement Gap Reduction Fall Report. She noted that the AGR schools receive funding to implement strategies related to class size, instructional coaching, and multi-level tiers of instruction for grades K through 3. She shared comparative fall baseline data for reading and math for this fall as compared to last fall. She presented recommendations for each school and each grade K through 3. The focus for 2025-2026 includes coaching teachers to utilize multiple pieces of formative data to plan small group instruction and on the quality of learning tasks and how they align to a student's specific lagging skills. Ms. Hemling, the Secondary Teaching and Learning Coordinator, presented new course proposals. She explained that AP Seminar with English 10 was tabled for 1 year to align with curriculum revision cycles. AP Business with Personal Finance was also tabled for a year to align with updated Wisconsin standards, and AP Human Geography with Global Studies was also tabled for 1 year due to teacher license process. And Music Creation and Production at the middle school was tabled for 1 year to give new middle school administrators time to assess program needs and course implications. She also presented 2 new chemistry courses, CAP Chemistry 105 and CAP Chemistry 106, and a new high school credit offering for plant science, in which the instructor will collaborate with the Wisconsin DPI to complete a standards crosswalk, allowing the course to qualify for science credit. The committee discussed the new course offerings and decided to table them until the January committee meeting. However, we did decide to proceed with presenting the new plant science credit offering at this board meeting. And as such, I would like to make a motion that the board approve the addition of the plant science course offered through the Ag Department. The instructor will collaborate with the Wisconsin DPI to complete the standards crosswalk, allowing the course to qualify for science credit. This will allow students to apply this course to their 3 credits of science that is required for graduation.
I second that motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second then to support science credit through plant science course. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those not, same sign. All right.
All right, and then Dr. White, Director of Human Resources, presented a proposal for addressing the shortage of qualified teachers in special education. The SET Transition to Teaching program would be a partnership between the Beaver Dam Unified School District and UW-Eau Claire to provide opportunities for talented employees who do not have a bachelor's degree to obtain a bachelor's degree in special education at a reduced cost while working for the Beaver Dam Unified School District. A committee would be formed to select 1 candidate per year to participate in the program. And once again, I have a motion for this particular program. So I move the board approve that the district would be the sponsor of a participant capped at 1 per year. And part of the agreement would be that this participant would serve for the district for an identified period of time after the completion of their bachelor's degree through the SET program.
I second that motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second to partner with University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire for their special education teacher training, SETT Transition to Teach program Ask for roll call vote, please.
John Combs?
Yes.
Mary Coombs?
Yes.
Lisa Panzer?
Yes.
Chad Krebe?
Yes.
Heather Schultz?
Yes.
Joanne Kedusky?
Yes.
Isaac Rocco?
Yes.
Marge Jordan?
Yes.
All right.
And just like operations, our next committee meeting for teaching and learning is scheduled for January 26th, 2026.
All right, so as you've heard, no committee meetings November, December, but please make sure you look at your calendars. We do have a workshop scheduled for November 17th. And with that, we'll move on to 9.4, board engagement and recognitions. Opportunity for the board to share any engagement opportunities or recognitions. And with that, I'll open it up to the board.
We have like 6 weeks worth of engagement because with a late board meeting, but going back in time just a little bit, Marge and I attended the state FFA meeting, one of the district meetings that was held at the high school, and wow, what an impressive day. I understand there were about 400 students there in district from other schools in the state and from our school. I was so impressed with both our school's officers and members that were there that evening, but with the students at large. I did not realize until we got up and walked out, Marge and I walked out, that all the advisors, well, we'd been in the auditorium listening to this program and everybody was behaved perfectly. All the advisors were sitting in the cafeteria. I mean, the kids were just that well-behaved and engaged, and the only advisors in there were with their middle school kids and not the high school. And they were all so professional and so involved in this, and it was one of my first opportunities to be at something of that level, and I was really impressed with that.
I have to agree with Joanne on this. That was one of the engagement opportunities I had, and Max Lidke, who had been our representative from the school during the past year, he was involved. He's a national or a state officer and everything like that, and they did an amazing job. And all those kids from the different schools throughout the state in our auditorium was just overwhelming, but they did a great job.
I did go to the FFA pork chop dinner, which was, they give you a lot of food. It was really good. And I got to hear Max doing some auctioning.
Oh, nice.
So that was fun. Yeah, a great bunch of kids. And then I did go to the football games, listen to the marching band. The homecoming game, that was absolutely packed. They actually moved the band down to the track. And then we went to the parade too, which a lot of groups were represented. It was a lot of fun.
So kind of tying in with that, my class reunion was homecoming, so class of 85. And some of us met for the parade, and just the discussion about the level of community involvement in our homecoming parade. And I don't know if people here don't realize how unusual that is. One of them talked about like their homecoming parade is driving around their high school campus. And so there's no community involvement, just school involvement. And just really a shout out to the community that supported not only at that parade, but at the game and the festivities of the weekend. Also, we took our 20 members of our class on a tour of the high school, and we were joined by, I think, 17 members from the class of 1990. And thanks to John Casper, it was like trying to herd cats getting us through there. Because we were like looking at everything and couldn't keep our group together. But I graduated before the auditorium and the old new gym. So they're like, do you remember this? I'm like, no, because I was here with 4 kids and it looked different than this, but different than when we went. So they were very impressed with the support of the community and just the creativity that took what we had and made it what it is. And we're really impressed and thought that the tour was really worthwhile. So also appreciate their support through donations by the class of 1985. They wanted to pay it forward to the future of the Beaver Dam School District, and we hope to continue to do that in the future.
Let's see here. I went to a couple football games. I watched the Golden Beavers whoop up on Watertown. That was a while ago, and then I also saw homecoming. I attended the groundbreaking. Just want to say a nice job to those of you that gave speeches. Thought the message was spot on. I attended the board coffee chat We kind of talked about that a little earlier, but that was a great little visit at the middle school. Had a delicious blueberry muffin, so appreciate that. And then I also had the opportunity to serve lunch at the middle school. Mr. Kraus and myself on a Wednesday showed up there, and they were serving. I mean, they had quite a bit quite a few options there, but we had the homemade lasagna.
Nice.
And yeah, I'm a lasagna guy, so we pushed that quite a bit. We sold out a lasagna. They also got, I believe it was Bosco bread with their lasagna. And if anybody's curious to know, that translates to cheese-filled breadstick. So that was good. Had a nice little Caesar salad with that. But I'll tell you what, that middle school lunch, we've kind of talked about that earlier in the year. I thought just being there and witnessing it, it seemed like it's pretty smooth. I think the time that we allow them, I guess I'll just give you a little rundown. I served lunch to all grades, but the sixth graders came in. We ran them all through the line. I then had opportunity to have my own plate. I went and sat down with the sixth graders. I felt I had plenty of time to finish my lunch, and there was still time left over. So I think the changes we made to that are sufficient. And also too, I'll just big shout out to Taher. Not only did they have the lasagna option that day, they also serve there's a taco salad. You could have a taco salad to go. You had the option of a fresh sub with lots of good fresh veggies, and then also they had a chicken nugget option, as well as a mini corn dog option. Wow. So it's a pretty good little lunch over there. So yeah.
How many did you try?
Yeah.
I only did the lasagna. It was good.
None
It
in
was
your pockets?
It was really good. I'll go back for that any day. I'll tell you that. So.
I attended the middle school School of the Month. So thank you for Brandon and his staff for taking us through there. We had a really good visit. Impressed with what we saw. Also the groundbreaking. Wow, what a turnout from the community. It's really, really nice to see that and be part of that. And then I too served some lunch to some Lincoln Lightning over at Lincoln one day, which was a fun time. I just kept telling them, I'm not a fireman, I'm not a policeman. This is it. This is all you got.
Anybody else?
Did you try lunch, Mary, or?
I did not try lunch
did
that
not?
day.
What was on the menu that day?
I didn't learn.
You don't remember? Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
You were just serving? I'm not into it like you are. You were serving? Yeah, I was serving.
Yeah. Anybody else? I just, so I echo what most people said. I was at the groundbreaking. I was at the middle school. But probably most impressive than anything, right? And several of the student reps talked about it, but we also talked about it. I mean, the whole homecoming thing was awesome. I think it really talks to the point of school pride. There was a ton of people downtown, and there was a lot of positive feedback, generally speaking, with all the functions from homecoming. And so appreciate everybody that had a hand in that, and appreciate the students for their behavior for homecoming.
Permission to speak? Yes. Yeah. That's right. Just a couple of quick things, real quick, because you referenced homecoming. The police, fire, and Department of Public Works, all the coordination they do to make sure that that's a safe event, blocking off streets, helping keep everybody safe during that event. Very, very important. So I want to thank them. Also, we've had, for our continuous improvement efforts, we've had key performance indicators sessions for families, community, as well as staff. Had kind of a trickle of engagement, if you want to call that, for the open events that we had on the evenings during parent-teacher conferences. But we had our parent advisory team here last week that also provided some wonderful feedback. So that's really, really important for us. We'll take all that feedback. That will all be shared. All the different feedback that we got from our staff. We had about 37 staff members also participate during in-service and provide feedback on the learning and academics key accountability area. So we'll compile that information and share that out with all of our stakeholders, as well as conduct a follow-up survey. So that will carry forward into next month when we shift into finance, operations, and facilities. And there's information that's going out on that this week already. So we'll continue to do that. We're looking forward to getting more feedback, and then we'll always share that feedback out and how we're going to use that to inform our continuous improvement practices moving forward. And then last but certainly not least, tomorrow is the annual SECL scrimmage. That'll be at the high school at 5:30 p.m. So if you're looking for an awesome event, that event is an inclusive event for students of all abilities. It's really awesome to see them come out and play some basketball and honor the memory and everything that makes SECL provided our district, and the example that she set for us. So 5:30 p.m. tomorrow, awesome event. And I do believe that Daily Dodge is going to stream that as well. So, but it's better if you're there in person.
All right, thank you.
I move the board recess into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.85, parent 1, parent C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, performance evaluation data of any public employee or which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, specifically to discuss with specific employees and the evaluation of the superintendent. And 19.85, parent 1, parent E, deliberating or negotiating the purchase of public properties and investment in public funds, or conducting a specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require.
We are back in open session, and we will move on to, where am I here? 12.1.
I have one resignation for your consideration tonight.
I move the board approve the resignation as presented.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second then to approve the resignation as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those not, same sign. Okay.
There are several leaves of absence for your consideration tonight.
I move the board approve the leaves of absence as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the leaves of absence as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those not, same sign. Okay.
I have a few appointments for your consideration tonight. For long-term sub, Pete Dusterbeck for special education at the high school. He will also have some social studies sections. Jamie Hahn, special education teacher for Jefferson Elementary School as a as a limited term employment, not a long-term sub, for 12/8 through the end of the school year. That would be at Jefferson. Steve Kinsey is a special education teacher up here for the high school, long-term sub, October 23rd through January 30th, 2026. Jen Mersch as a long-term sub for 4th grade at Jefferson from September 29th to October 14th, because that person came back early. And then Lisa Tennyson, a speech and language pathologist for Washington Elementary School, long-term sub for December 8th through March 2nd, 2026.
I move the board approve the appointments as presented.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second then to approve the appointments as presented. Roll call vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
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 Thank you.
Nicole, thank you for staying late. Appreciate it. All right, moving on to 12.4. We have 25-26 budget adoption, certification of the property tax levy. Somebody want to take up those
Read the
motions?
I'll move the Board of Education for the Beaver Dam Unified School District hereby adopt the 2025-2026 original budget, including Fund 10 general operation revenues totaling $43,354,450 and expenditures totaling $43,354,450 as presented as the official district budget for the school year.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please. Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
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 I'll also move that the Board of Education of the Beaver Dam Unified School District hereby adopt, certify, and impose a school tax levy of $19,870,390 upon all real taxable property within the Beaver Dam Unified School District.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Ask for roll call vote again.
Yes?
Yes.
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 Yeah, just want to reiterate too, if people are just catching now, that they can always go back to the previous video. There was a meeting prior to the business meeting this evening. It was the annual budget hearing, and they can see a comprehensive presentation of the budget if they're interested.
Thank you, Mark. 12.5, board policy updates.
All right, we have our fall slate of prospective policy changes that were recommended by Neola and reviewed by our administrative team. This is the first reading. So the board has both kind of a summary as well as reference to all individual policies that are part of the fall slate of updates. For this first reading, there are 31 different revisions and 1 replacement. You can direct any questions to me. The board will be presented in November with the second reading and be requested to approve the updates. Any questions between now and then, please reach out.
right, thank you. Payment of claims.
I move payment of claims in the amount of $9,800,409.08.
Second.
All right, motion and second then for payment of claims. Roll call vote, please.
Yes?
Yes.
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 Yes. Look for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All right, motion and second for adjournment. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those not, same sign. All right, thank you, everybody. Have a good night. We are adjourned.